Welcome to Flashpoint, the Fire Inside podcast, featuring leadership and team building principles designed to ignite your inner fire. Now your host, international speaker and best-selling author, Frank Viscuso.
All right, Jason Patton, welcome to Flashpoint.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
I'm listening. The one I kept thinking, like, what could be the best question that I could ask Jason? What just to start, and the one that came to mind was, were you funny as a kid growing up?
I mean, I don't know if I've ever actually been funny in general, but I found myself funny as a kid. So, but yeah, growing up, I definitely, I was the class clown. I know it's a shocker for a lot of people, but I enjoyed creating humor just in any kind of atmosphere. I know some of it was like a defense mechanism for, God, I had something going on, so I made a joke, or if I made myself look stupid, I made a joke to kind of get out of it. So yeah, I think so. My two brothers, and we act pretty much identical to each other.
That's pretty funny. I have an older brother. Your brother's older or younger?
Both younger.
Both younger. Okay. So I have an older brother that somebody once described. I said, you know what, my brother, I don't think he was the class clown, because someone said he was the class clown. I said, I don't think he was the class clown. I said, because I think the class clown is the guy that runs across the football field in the winter during a snowstorm. Right. My brother's the guy that talks that guy into it. That's who he is. So, and I often think about that. Yeah. Well, that's him. Loves to have a good time. And he was a firefighter too. So my brother and I both kind of went through the fire service together. What attracted you to the fire service?
It was pure happenstance. I happened to, I was a mechanic, and a buddy of mine came up to me. He's like, dude, I just finished EMT school. I love it. It's really, really cool. So I was like, I'll try it out. Down here in South Florida, you have to be in the EMS as well as fire if you want to get paid for 911 response, essentially, except for certain areas in like North Florida. But he introduced me to it. I went to EMT school, fell in love with it, and then medic school, and then fire school immediately after that. And fire school was where the EMS side was cool. I loved learning about the body and everything. But when I got into fire school, I found that brotherhood that everybody loves about what we do, man. It was just so cool. I enjoyed the military aspect of it. I wouldn't do well in the military, but I enjoyed the military aspect of it. And it was just, when you get to fight fire and you get to work together as a team, and you find the people that are the weakest links and then help build them up. Or I went through some stuff while I was going through fire school and saw all the guys come together and help me. It was very cool.
Well, that is the one thing that, like, a firefighter truly has two families. And I do know people that come into our industry, and because what I do, the amount of traveling and teaching and I guess coaching that I kind of do with people, every now and then I will come across firefighters that say, hey, I'm not feeling the brotherhood at my department. Yeah. It's cliquey, it's this, it's that. Sometimes they're complaining about leadership, sometimes about some of the new firefighters. They don't want to do anything, these people. And half the time, I want to say, well, first, that's what we're getting. The first and foremost, stop everything. And we need to look at each other like we're a family. And families are not perfect. They're not. But we got to look at each other like a family and understand that we're blessed to have a second family. And for some people, they don't even have, they come from broken homes. And so this is more of a family than what they had previously. So I can hear what you're saying there. Now, we have I guess a mutual friend, and I watched one of your videos, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, because I want to talk about the progression into comedy, because that's the thing that I'm attracted to, and what this show's kind of all about is helping people that are listening find their passion and go after and just create the life they want. We met some cool people like Stipe, UFC fighter. I was out in Ohio teaching one day, and the guys said to me, hey, when you're out here, is there anything you want to do? I said, you know what, I really like to meet Stipe. I knew he was a town over. And I said it one time, I didn't think much of it, but they know I'm a big MMA fan. And sure enough, after class, they say, hey, we got dinner set up. We're going to stop by. Well, I can't remember what they said. Stop by here, then we're going to have dinner. I'm like, cool. And I remember specifically thinking, oh, that stinks. I was hoping we were going to stop by and meet Stipe. Well, I didn't know he was coming to dinner with us. So they invite him. He comes out. I'm like, man, this guy's pretty cool. He seems down to earth. He's a firefighter that's chasing his dream. They go together. Another firefighter chasing his dream. How did that come about? The two of you meeting?
Man, it was, again, we always talk about things in our lives where we kind of expect everything to be a linear progression, and this was actually a great example of how sometimes your biggest failures can kind of create bigger opportunities that you would never even thought of. We made a video for Fire Department Coffee, and it was about kind of like sports stuff, but it was all about dirt bikes and racing and all these things. And we actually filmed it out in California. Really cool experience. And our biggest flop to date, most expensive, biggest flop, when it did not perform well at all. The video was well outside of what we normally do. But it happened to be that one of the 3,000 people that saw that video was Stipe's managers. So they reach out and they're like, hey, we love the video. Like, the video was really cool. And we're like, we could probably do better. And they're like, well, we'd love to possibly do some stuff with you with Stipe and Fire Department Coffee. So he and I, we got together, figured out what we were going to do with him. And I went out there and I literally went by the station just to drop off some coffee. I was like, hey man, I'm going to drop off a couple bags of coffee. Appreciate you, you working with us. And he and I sat there for like an hour and a half. We sat there for an hour and a half on the tailboard and just talked. And it was such a cool experience to see a guy who is where he is in the world of MMA and everything. He is just another brother firefighter, and it was a very, very cool experience. And what was truly incredible to me was that he said, hey man, I love fighting, I think it's awesome, but I got to support my family. So he's like, I got to get onto a full-time department, got to get that health insurance, and make sure I can take care of my family for the long term. And I was like, man, that's amazing to see someone with the passion that he has for MMA, but enough forward thinking to understand that he's got to have some kind of end goal.
So I have quite a few friends that have fought and still fight in the UFC and in other major promotions. And I get that, man. They're all looking for something else. It's not like boxing where you can make $17 million for a fight.
I know.
I mean, and they can make a tremendous amount of money, but it's a short lifespan. I mean, we got a really good deal here. I like to explain that to firefighters is whether you're a career or volunteer. I mean, we're talking two different mindsets when it comes to what I'm about to say. But if you're a career firefighter, and you have to understand, I mean, this is one of, if not the greatest profession out there. It's dangerous, but it's extremely well respected. And has a tremendous amount of rewards. And so when I see a guy like him and a guy like you, because obviously, you guys got some great stuff happening outside here, understand and value what we have here, that speaks volumes about our profession. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Your comedy progression, like as far as making the videos, was this just, hey, one day, hey, I got a good idea for a video?
No, I'm telling you, man, I've said this 1,000 times, and I will believe it till the day I die. I'm not special. There's 1,000 of me out there, but guys that, are messing around the stations. I've seen people, obviously on TikTok, it's kind of allowed people to create videos that don't require such high value production for some of these. But I got lucky, man. I had the right chief at the right time who obviously made us get tested on your book, which I like. You want to talk about things coming back together?
Oh yeah,
but yeah, yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yep. He Chief Duran was the guy's name. Amazing guy, like such a good dude. And he came in, completely transformed our departments. He was like the type of leader that I believe a lot of people should try to kind of emulate. And it was simply because he didn't come in with fear. He came in and asked for respect. He showed respect. And because of that, he got a lot of people that were willing to do anything and everything to make sure that he looked good at all times. And then he took care of us. So it was a very cool experience. But yeah, he came in, saw the videos when I started making them. And after they started kind of moving, he pulled me aside and he was like, hey, listen, I love this. It's cool. A lot of chiefs don't like it. I'll tell you that right now, but I'll let you keep doing it. He goes, but don't put the department in anything. I don't want to see any of our symbols in it. So I had to kind of change what I was doing for a little bit. And he said, don't do anything stupid. I don't want to see you riding on top of like ladder trucks and throwing things at people. And if you get fired, you do this to yourself. I'm like, okay, that sounds great, man. So it was very cool. He actually, go ahead.
No, that it's interesting. I had met Chief Kurd,
Yes,
who I believe he's your current chief right now, right?
Yes.
So I was down at FDIC. This was just last year. And I'm sitting down. It's funny you mentioned my book because I just went to grab something before FDIC really started. This was, I think, a day before. And he's sitting down with his wife a few chairs away from me. And he just says to me, are you Frank Fasuso? I'm like, I am. And he said, I read your book, and we just start talking. And in the conversation of talking, he says, yeah, I'm actually Jason Patton's chief. That's how he introduced himself. And I'm like, so this was my immediate thought when he said that, was because I figured, I'd like to ask him. I said, do you support what he does? I was hoping he said yes, because quite honestly, a lot of people that have reached, I don't know if you want to say notoriety, but a lot of people that have either written books or on the speaking circuit or whatever, don't always have the support of their chief. And so I was curious, and he goes, oh yeah, he goes, I love what he's doing. I'm in full support. And he started talking about how humor helps people, and how you're using your gift to do something good. And I'm like,
thank you.
Oh man, I'm telling you. And then I met you, because I didn't meet you before that. I met you after that, and I said, man, your chief, he supports you, and that's rare. So congratulations on that.
Huge, yeah. No, and I appreciate that. And that was when Chief Duran left and Chief Kurd took over. I was genuinely impressed, because he came in and he was like, hey, look, we're good, everything's fine, same rules that were said before. Just, please, like, and he always said it jokingly. He's like, just don't get me fired. All right, man. Like, don't get me fired. So, and I always, but I tell you what, immediately I wanted to keep that same line of respect between he and I, and we've become friends, and I still call him Chief no matter what's going on. And because I think it is important, and I do whatever I can to support my fire department at this point in time. But he is a true, again, like Chief Duran came in, kind of changed the way our department operated, and then Chief Kurd kept it going. And I mean, and now he's building, or we will finish building, probably the greatest fire station in the United States to date that's been built, and he's finishing it next month. So the guy's an inspiration. I'm lucky to have him as my child.
That is awesome, and just the mutual respect, I think, is fantastic. I want to share with you. So one of my favorite videos, the 14 things you never want to hear an EMT paramedic say.
Yeah.
I listened to that, and I'm like, it's great stuff. I know you also do that, and I don't know what you call it, but I guess it's things people actually said on calls. I don't know if that's got a segment name, but that's it. So here's, okay. So and you do the one about the hunting for the paramedic. All this, I mean, this is funny stuff. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
I laugh at it. Your mannerisms are great, but here's what's really funny. When I did meet you at FDIC, of course, we exchanged numbers, and here I am just a few months ago. I'm in Florida, and I taught when I was down there, but my boys were also playing in a baseball tournament. And now I had to leave a day before my family left, because I had to come back and teach in this area. I'm taking an Uber to the airport, and as I'm talking to the guy, younger kid, he just says, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I'm a retired firefighter, but I do. Oh, you're a firefighter? I said, yeah. Now I'm expecting him to say, I want to be a firefighter, or I respect fire. I'm expecting that. He goes, you ever see that video where the guy, and he talks about throwing the extinguisher into the fire? I'm like, and I'm thinking immediately about your video. You can't be talking about that one. I'm like, I think. He goes, I'll pull it up for you. Now he's driving. He's like, I'll pull it up for you. I'm like, you don't have to pull it up now, buddy. It's okay. We can do this while we stop. He's like, no, I can get it real quick because I have it saved. And he shows it to me, and it's you. And I'm laughing back there. So I start dialing you. Okay. And when he's done, I said, you like him? He goes, I swear I love this guy. He's so funny. I'm his biggest fan. I'm like, you want to meet him? He's like, I would love to meet him. I said, hold on. I call you. He couldn't believe it. And so when I put you on the phone with him, you should have seen his face. First of all, thank you for taking that call. And that's the one
Yeah.
thing that I have to say. You have millions of followers, very successful, but you do things like this. When we hung up, by the way, he said, tell him I will be his Uber driver for life and he'll never have to pay me. So you didn't have to be driving yourself right now. He would have drove you.
Yeah.
That, and this is what I love the most about you is when I go to FDIC and I walk by the fire department coffee, your stand, and I see you and Fenton taking pictures, shaking hands with everybody for hours upon hours. I mean, it's not like you guys say, hey, this is a 1 hour meet and greet. I do 1 hour book signings. At the end of the hour, I grab myself a soda, I sit down with my friends, I go get lunch. You're there the whole day. And I don't know how to say this, so I'll just say what's on my heart. Thank you for being that type of person, because that's the type of person we need more of in this life and in this industry.
Man, I greatly appreciate that, because it's humbling. It's an amazing experience every single time. I hope I never get used to it, because I have a good understanding that one day I will no longer be relevant, and I just think it's an incredible thing, because I'm thankful that people find what I find funny, and I truly appreciate it every single time, no matter where I am. I got recognized a couple times yesterday at like Walmart and stuff, and it's just cool, man. Because again, people are like, "Hey," and there's smiles, and we get to talk, and I get to learn about them and what they do, and it really is. It's a very cool experience, and I appreciate you saying that, because we never take advantage of it. We don't take it for granted. We truly appreciate it every single time.
It's a special thing, if you're touching and moving somebody or giving them, and what you do is special, because it's comedy. It's comedy. We need comedy heals, man. I was a person, first of all, first time when I started speaking in public, I never expected to do nearly the amount of traveling and speaking that have come to do, because one of the first times I spoke, I'm speaking with Vincent Dunn, the legend. I mean, to me, Vincent Dunn, he's an icon. And I'm doing a seminar and I'm speaking just before him. And part of what I'm trying to do when I'm speaking is there's a part of me that says, look, I got Vincent Dunn sitting in the front row watching me, and I kind of want to impress him. I don't want him to say, what's this guy doing on stage? So I guess I tried acting more serious than I normally am, and I guess cooler than I am. I'm not cool at all, right? So after the seminar, and he did his thing, it was great. After the seminar, we're sitting down and we're talking, and we exchanged numbers too. And I texted him, I said, thank you again. It was an honor being able to share stage with you. He said, let me just give you one bit of advice. Smile more. And I thought, wait, what? Like, I guess I was just too serious. And one of the things I started realizing was this, and like we do have a very stressful career, and a lot of things that happen that we see, the trauma, the stuff that we don't talk about it, we need to release. We need to figure out a way to get this message out to people. And I said, I'm going to start using humor in my presentations. So I specifically, and to me, it's almost, there's no system to it, but I would say if you sit through, 2 hours of me speaking, you're going to laugh 10 times. I can guarantee you that much, because I work that stuff in there because I want people to feel good and I want to keep their attention. And it's dry humor. It's not, I'm going to, and I'll get your permission, but I'm going to find a way to get a couple of your videos worked into the presentation too. For the
anytime.
People need to laugh.
Yeah.
Do you, yeah, go ahead.
I'm a massive fan of dry humor. I love dry humor. I just think dry humor and just, even like awkward silences, like any of that stuff is so funny to me, because I couldn't agree with you more. There is something about humor that kind of releases the room slightly. And that's what you need when you're trying to have serious conversations with people, or you're teaching them things, you want to be able to pull them into what you're saying, get them inspired, show them the examples, fill their brain with whatever information they need, and then release them with the humor. They relax a little bit, you get another dopamine release into the brain. Okay, cool. And there's studies that show that comedy and humor and laughing helps people understand information better.
For
It
sure.
makes it more interesting, almost more nuanced to them. So no, man, I love that. But dry humor is probably my favorite type of humor. I just think it's so good.
It's good, and it happens so naturally in every fire department in the country. I don't think we realize it. Well, my dad, first of all, my father, Sebastian Giuseppe Viscuso, right? I like to say he's a nice Irish boy. So he is an Italian. Papa Joe, my grandfather, came from Italy, as my grandmother did. And my father's nickname is Zibby. When he was a young firefighter, they had this brush fire in town. And nobody knew like how it started, but there was an old Italian gardener that was in the area, and he's the only one that might have known what ignited the fire. So the chief calls my father over. Again, he's a young firefighter. Zibby, again, being his nickname, was Zibby, come here. Calls him over. And he says, Zib, I need your help. I need information from this guy. He's Italian. He doesn't speak any English. So my father says, well, what do you need from me? He goes, well, first I need the guy's name. So my father looks at the guy and he goes, what's your name? He goes, Chief, I don't speak Italian. So right there, they start this. How do you not speak Italian? Your father speaks Italian. He's like, he doesn't want me to speak Italian. He wanted me to, and this is how, one of these things that's happening on the scene, which is fun because, again, here we are, 40 years later, and I'm telling you this story.
That's so funny. I love that.
But that's what's cool about the stuff that you do when you take these, things that happened on actual calls. And were they all calls that you responded to, or are they stories that some people told you?
No, these are calls that I've responded to, and I will change the details of some of them just in case anyone's going, hey, I think so like the names or stuff like that. But yeah, these are calls that I've come across that I've run. There was only one of them where I just used a story that somebody had told me, and it was that they told me personally when I was teaching CPR is what it was, and they were asking for like, hey, so I did this at my mom's house when this happened. I'm like, oh, you should never have done that. That's really, really bad. They're like, but it worked. I'm like, so you still shouldn't do it. So, but no, this is all stuff that I've seen or heard or come across. The one where the cop passes out because the thing was sticking in the person's butt. It was actually in their back. But that was 100% true. It was one of the first calls I ran in my department, and just watched this cop. He was not doing well, man. He was going down. It was hysterical to watch. So yeah, these are, there's just thousands of calls that we've all run. And the best part is I will post something about like the person that gave insulin to the unconscious person. And I post that, and all it is comments of people like, I ran the same thing, like everybody runs the same calls all across the world. And it's hysterical.
I find that to be true. When I tell people that by the time I'm done speaking today, you're going to think I work for your department. Because all the stories it's the same. It really is. Yep. Like certain things. Like one question I'll ask: do you have any drama at work? And everybody rolls their eyes and giggles. Yeah, of course you have drama. You're people working together. Yeah. I found that I ask a question. Raise your hand if you've ever worked for a micromanager. 95% of the hands go up every time. And I typically say at that point, well, 95% of the hands went up. The only hands that aren't going up are the hands of the people sitting next to their boss right now, who micromanages them.
Yeah.
Like it's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, that brings me back to where humor helps. Humor helps heal. I was a guy that when I was younger, as a kid in high school, even I dealt with stress and anxiety. You ever deal with stress, anxiety, depression, any of that stuff yourself? I think somebody said that you may have.
Yeah. No, I've throughout my life, I actually, for a long time, dealt with anxiety of public speaking. It was really bad. In fact, the first time I ever taught CPR, I almost passed out in front of the class. And thankfully, I had a second instructor there, and he took over, and I walked outside, and I called my mom the next day. And I was like, Ma, I don't think I could do this. Like, I don't think I can teach. And she's like, just remember, every time you go into a room and you are teaching anybody, they believe that you are the absolute expert on that subject. So just go with that every single time. And I did. And it was incredible. It just releases you to understand that, like, even if you say something wrong, correct yourself, oh, you know what? And I've done that multiple times, but everybody in the room is there to learn. So yeah, I've dealt with it. I've dealt with it on a personal level for a lot of my life. And I think that's where a lot of my humor came from. You see that with most comedians. But for me, what I've learned over time is that, for me, it's just realistic expectations in the morning. And I teach, you've seen me do How to Hug 101. And when I teach on that, it's the basics. I don't wake up to be happy. I wake up to be content. And then I kind of figure out how the day's going to go. But every day when I wake up in the morning, I just try to reset back to baseline, and it helps, man. But the biggest thing I've learned and I'm hopefully going to be moving towards becoming an officer here soon. Biggest thing I've learned with dealing with people is the number one thing you need to do with anybody in a conversation, especially in the firehouse, is just validate whatever they're saying in the moment, as long as it's not like I'm going to go murder Mike over there, and then do you like Mike? That would be the question I would ask. But a lot of times just saying like, dude, I completely understand why you feel that way, or I can see why you would feel that way. Man, that diffuses 99% of issues that I've seen people have within the fire service.
That's so true. And I just had a guest on 2 episodes ago, Sarah Westbrook, and she's an expert at dealing with people. And we did a little clip from our video, and it's called "It's Okay to Feel What You Feel." Mm-hmm. And it's something she goes around and talks to kids in schools, and she says it's so important that you validate it and make them understand it. Hey, it's okay to feel what you feel. Maybe the way they're going about dealing with it isn't right, and we can talk about how we can deal with it better. But it's like I try to explain it this way. If you're hot, you're in your house and you're hot, and your spouse is cold, that doesn't mean that she's lying and she's not cold. Your spouse could be cold and you could be hot. You could both be feeling two different things in a sense. Doesn't mean either one of you are wrong. Yeah. And that's, I think, when we're dealing with people. And that is a key. When you and I think you'd be a great officer because you have this sense of people. You mentioned your chief earlier about how he was a good leader and he kind of set this tone. And I heard you before in an interview talk about him before, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but I want to say that he came up to you guys and asked the question of, what can I do to make this fire department better? Is that correct? Was that something he did?
Yeah. The first, so Chief Duran,
right.
First thing he did, he got his office ready. And within a week, he had like settled in and done all the HR stuff. He wanted to make sure he had his white shirts. So he got his uniform, and he went to every fire station. We only have 4 fire stations, but he went to every fire station on every shift and talked to every guy that he could, and guy and girl. And he said, what can I do to make it better? But he opened up, listen, expectations, like managing expectations is such a good managerial thing. And that's what he did. He walked in and said, tell me what you need me to change. Like, what can I do to help make this place better? I can't do everything, but tell me what I can do. And he did it, and he got us pay raises. He got us better trucks, but he also got us a uniform policy and he said, I expect every one of you to wear the uniform properly and everyone to wear the same uniform. And then he said, I will stand up for you no matter what's going on, as long as you don't make me look stupid. And that like, so don't go like, drive drunk somewhere or something like that. If you got a drinking problem, tell me and I'll take care of you. And but what he did was he created a place where we created pride, because if you have pride in your fire department, you're going to want to invest more into it physically and mentally. So that's what he did. And then that's what he did with Chief Curd. Chief Curd followed that same thing, and he's been one of our biggest inspirations. He's invested tons of money into mental health and the fire department to make us a little more prideful in what we do. And listen, true leaders inspire people. Fake leaders get through fear. Like that's and fear only goes so far. Eventually you get over the fear, and then it becomes, you can go after yourself. So if you inspire people, they will always want to follow behind you.
I agree with you 100%. And I call that, leading through inspiration or intimidation. And there's plenty of people out there that, for whatever reason, think that they're going to motivate you by making you fear them. That doesn't work in this industry.
No. Well, your
And
parents do it. That's what your parents do. One of the worst things your parents can say to you is, man, it really disappoints me that you did that, because you're like, oh, like my heart, that hurts. So I mean, and that's what it is. Like a true leader that leads to inspiration, and you want to make them proud, and then they're like, it's really disappointing that you did that. You're like, okay, what can I do so I never have to feel this again? Like, what do I have to do to fix this? And it works.
It's so funny you said that, because I mean, I remember one time when I was disappointed in my son, and my initial response was, I felt myself getting angry at him, and I pulled him aside and I say, I just want you to know I'm really disappointed in what you just did there. And I could see he was like, oh. I said, well, let's talk about what you need to do next time. That would be the right way to handle that situation. And I when I handle things that way, I feel like that's a dad victory, because I this is the question I ask my kids a lot. If I have to discipline them for something, I'll ask them this: do you think I love you a little bit or a lot? In other words, I never want them to guess whether or not I love them.
Yeah.
So they always say, no, we know you love us a lot, Dad. Of course I love you a lot. That's why I'm doing this, because if I don't do this now, this is what you'll continue to do, and this is what happens later in life. Yeah. So every now and then I get it right, and then other times I just flip my crap and go nuts on them. And that's when I got to turn on Jason Patton's videos to bring me back to earth. And Fenton, by the way, how can I not talk about Fenton? How did you guys meet?
So Fenton and I met. He messaged me at one point in time when I first started getting into it. And he's like, hey, man, I'd love to do some stuff with you. And I was like, absolutely, bro. And it's actually through Fire Department Coffee, because Fire Department Coffee, we were always looking for other kind of inspirational people. And you want to talk about a guy who, he's been in the fire service for 20 years. He is a promoted captain, the PIO for his department. I mean, this guy he's done it right and done a very good job. And he's run like the charitable side of their stuff. When it comes to and they raise a ton of money for their during their charities for their benevolence. But he and I met, man, and I was like, hey, man, we've got to start bringing you out for videos. And he comes out and he does such a good job at being that raving psychopath in videos. He is so good at it, man. And he's got like 46 kids. So that's that's about right as well. But yeah, Fenton is one of those guys that if you need something, you call him, he gets it done. Like he's a very good guy.
That's awesome. It's good that you guys connected. You guys are a good comedy team together. Your wife, I had the opportunity to meet her, not talk to her too much, but, and you have a daughter, right?
Yeah, 7-year-old daughter.
7-year-old daughter. Does she watch your videos?
She does. I actually caught her one day on YouTube, and the funniest thing, man. And I think I understand why people have kids, because it's the things that she did one thing, and I was like my heart melted. I was like, this is so cool. She was going through YouTube watching my videos, and she finds probably 1 out of 10 funny, because she doesn't know what I'm talking about. Right. Yeah, but every video she got to on Shorts, she liked it. she just liked it. Every single one. I was like, man, she's such a cute kid, and she's playing piano now, which is fun. And a lot. She doesn't want to. She did 10 lessons. Got to play a little Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and something else in an online recital. And she was like, "Nah, this is too hard. I want to do it." And I was like, "All right, how about I'll learn a song on guitar if you do 10 more lessons." And she's like, "Okay, I'll do it." And I just know like that for kids, man. Like, yeah, I think they should speak another language. She speaks two languages, almost 3 languages now. And now we'll have her playing an instrument. So we'll give her all the things she needs to be a successful human.
That's pretty awesome. I'm still trying to figure out this one language. I didn't realize how little I knew about this language, so I started writing. And I'm like, okay, I'm writing with a thesaurus next to me, just trying to find a better word to say what I'm trying to say.
I'm telling you, we don't. It's so true. That's so true.
It's crazy. Well, people listen, to give people hope. I mean, and I've told this before, but I wrote my very first book with two fingers using my thumb for the space bar, looking for each letter as I'm typing it. I've graduated. Now I use three fingers and a thumb. But I've never been one to get caught up on the details. It's like I sat down one just not too long ago watching a buddy of mine. He's an attorney and a financial planner. I mean, like anything he wants to do, he's just brilliant guy. And I'm watching him type so quick. I'm looking, I'm going, holy cow, I've never seen this. And he said, what? I said, I've never seen anyone use all 10 fingers typing. And he goes, dude, you wrote 10 books. I said, I know, with three fingers. I've never seen this. And it's so quick. But I explained to him that I said, my brain doesn't work as quick as your fingers are moving. So if I even could type that quick, I wouldn't anyway, because my brain wouldn't formulate the sentence at that speed. So we find what we're good at. And my son, Frankie, not too long ago, it was an assignment at school was, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nick wanted to be an artist. I said, this is great. I'm going to introduce you to Paul Combs. The greatest artist in our industry. And Frankie says, I want to be a YouTuber. I'm looking at this going, I don't want my son. This is years ago. I don't want my son being a YouTuber. I mean, I want him to pick a real job. So I go to work and I'm telling the guys at work, my son says he wants to be a YouTuber. So a couple of the younger guys go, oh, Chief, do you know how much YouTubers make? I'm like, no. What do they make? And they're showing me the figures. I'm like, Frankie, I support your YouTube channel. Let's do it. If somebody wanted to start a YouTube, a social media, if somebody wanted to do what you're doing, what kind of advice would you give them? And my son right now is 13. Imagine you're talking to my 13-year-old and he says, I really want to be a YouTuber. What advice would you give?
I would say find something you're passionate about, something that you truly enjoy, because within the realm of content creation or writing books or whatever it is, there are massive lows in this, and you always need to be able to come back to what originally got you into it, which should be the inspiration. So find the inspiration, try to curate it, have realistic expectations from the beginning that videos that you put out will not get massive amounts of views, and even if you do have a couple in the beginning that get massive amounts of views, there's going to be a lot of them that just don't get that. So then try to go with the ebbs and flows, and then find paths. Or find trends. So originally it was me finding different things in the fire service that were funny, different people you work with. Then I kind of went back and forth with educational stuff that was specific to, hey, this is what the 5 things you need to know about interviews, different types of IV starters, that kind of thing. Then I went to green screens, and now my new trend is real things I've seen in the fire service and being a paramedic. So, it just kind of waking up each day, trying to find a new thing, and just realistic expectations. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people tell you to put out 5 videos a week. I think you're insane if you try to put out 5 videos a week. I would lose my mind if I did that. But if you can do it, then do it. So it's hard, but if you stick with it, the long term, especially when it comes to the money you can make, is very, very, very profitable.
It's that whole compound effect. As I was explaining before we went live, that my Facebook Step Up and Lead Facebook page reached over 17 million people. And I mean, just in the last 28 days is what it was. And I'm looking, because I remember when I was reaching about 1 million a month, and the growth it has right now, like every time I refresh it, I'm like, there's another 100, there's another 300, there's another 500, 6,000, 7,000 in the last couple of weeks. And I'm thinking, I'm not really even posting that much, but if the content's finding the audience and they like it. And by the way, I don't do that for profit. I mean, there's no profit, but it is part of my brand, I guess. So it all is connected. Because I'll post clips of our videos on there just to kind of help promote this. And it is connected, man. But I think that what I see is a lot of people want to do this type of stuff. They want to podcast, they want to start channels. That's good, do it. I will caution them against one thing, and I'd like your thoughts on this. We have fire station humor.
Yes.
And I think fire station humor needs to stay in the fire station.
The fire station.
You agree with that?
Yeah. 100%. And that's that's the one thing when people said, how did you become successful in video creation about the things that we see and hear all the time? And that was it. I said, I take fire station humor, run it through a PC filter, and then put it out on the internet. Because you cannot take what we say in the fire station and put it out into the internet. I mean, crap, I'm sure as you're retiring, you were seeing that sometimes even the in-station humor is starting to get kind of buffered down a little bit. Like, man, you can't say that anymore. So yeah, 100%. Just look, if you're able to do it and it's not what your platform is built on, stay away from race, religion, and politics. Just stay away from it. Because if it is a profitability thing, then you need to be able to market to everybody. So you need to stay away from those three things, because those are going to segment you into certain areas. But also a lot of times it's just too swinging. You might as well just have a good time if it's humor. If you're doing anything that's cooking or playing games, same thing. And the biggest thing I try to tell people is, when you say it and you put it on the internet, it's there forever. It ain't coming down, man. Someone's got a screenshot of it or recording. So look, I do it for the passion. It's fun. And that's truly for me. Oh, the last thing I would say, if your son is doing it, and I don't know of a better way to say this, but don't prostitute yourself with ads or sponsors and stuff, because people, once they start seeing you do that a whole lot, they're not going to want to watch you anymore. So Get your key people, make yourself valuable. I only work with X amount of brands per year. If you want to be one of those, then we can figure out how that will work.
Right. I got that. And, and one thing, you talk about religion, race, politics, and not talk about them. Somebody once asked me at the firehouse kitchen table, why can't we talk about that stuff at work? And my answer was, because every war in the history of the world was fought over race, religion, and politics, and millions of people have lost their lives. That's how passionate people are. And in this world where we're, in a sense, being conditioned or taught to hate or fear the opposing point of view, which I disagree with completely. My belief is you could disagree with people and still be friends. But in this world, the cancel culture and all that stuff, it's dangerous to put that stuff out there. And I don't think, when we talk about fire service humor, I want people that are listening to this to understand something. It's not firefighters specifically and deliberately saying things that they know is wrong. It is, I think, a vent. It's a release. We just got back from a call. It was stressful. We're processing it. It's this place, this kitchen table, as an example, is this place where you say stuff that maybe it's not politically correct, but you're not saying it for that reason. You're saying something to get off your chest, but you may not even know what you're saying is something that shouldn't be, because we're
100%.
Right, because they're firefighters. We're not educators, and we're not sitting in class all day long where people are saying, well, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. You're just saying stuff you've been saying. I one time said to one of my firefighters, I called him up to the office because I can hear him down in the kitchen, and he's using a lot of words that I'm saying, all right, I'd rather you stop using these particular words, because you could say everything you want to say. I actually asked them, go in a dictionary and go to the sections that starts with F and find me that 4-letter word you keep saying. and so he says to me, he goes, Chief, I'll work on it. I'll work on it. And I said, listen, I'm just trying to help you. I don't mind hearing the word, but that's a word we don't want, saying out in public. You don't want, and it's become so much of a habit, you don't realize you're saying it, because you'll use it 3 times. And so I said to him, don't say something that you wouldn't want to say in front of your mother-in-law. This is what he says to me. Chief, you don't know my mother-in-law. She's worse.
I love that, dude. That's because that's
right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, but I 100%, man. I always say, like, I don't curse in any of my.
Sounds like a fire.
Yeah. No, I don't curse in my videos, but if you meet me in person, you've probably figured that out. I curse a lot, but I just don't do it in the videos because I want it to be age friendly. Because I have like 8-year-old kids that come up, they're like, "I love your videos," and then 90-year-old guys and women that say the same thing. So you want to be able to appeal to everybody. But yeah, we use this in-station humor to deal with what we see. I mean, we've seen some really bad stuff, things that no human should ever see. So we kind of like try to get it off our chest by that, and we all laugh at the station. It's totally fine. But once you exit the station, you just can't say that anymore, man, because it just takes one sentence to destroy your life. So.
Oh yeah, well, it does, and especially in this world, and it's dangerous. But and in this world that is incredibly stressful in so many ways. Just thank you once again for being a guy that shines a light and brings us some humor. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, I mean, thanks for spending 45 minutes with us. Can you talk, maybe tell us how they can get a hold of Fire Department Coffee?
Yeah, Fire Department Coffee. You can go firedepartmentcoffee.com. We're moving rapidly into retail stores now, but you can definitely get it online. Pretty much anything, any type or flavor or blend that you would want, we have it on there. And then we're also on all social media channels as well. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the fun stuff. So you can check out some of the very fun videos that we are making multiple times a year.
Fantastic. So check it out. It's Jason Patton. And Jason, again, I appreciate your time. I will be reaching out to you the next time I am in an Uber and the guy shows me your video.
That sounds great.
Thanks, brother. You stay safe. I appreciate
you. You too, brother.